Uh, we're having a book talk about economics of financial inclusion, and we are going to see basically on the Pakistani segment of this book. But this book is basically about the development and case studies of developing and developed countries, which sees how financial inclusion is important to have theoretical insights and to know the best practices and the policies to overcome the challenges within this field. This book is edited by Dr. Firdaus Ahmed Malek, who is Assistant Professor of Economics at the Department of Management, University of People at USA. The book is examination of economic financial inclusion and management perspective of financial inclusion to know importance of financial inclusion to have empowerment. We have our guests with us who have written their chapters in it. We have Dr. Osama Malik, which I just introduced. He has written his chapter, plus he is an editor in this book. He specializes in economic development, microfinance, like public finance, and financial inclusion. Then we have Dr. Mohammed Ramzan Sheikh. He is professor of economics at Bahauddin Zikri University. And how their financial inclusion is very important. Then we have Dr. Aisha Khan with us. Dr. Aisha Khan is CEO of Akhtar Hamid Foundation, which is a grassroots nonprofit organization. She is currently heading the Urban Impact Lab of this foundation and working for the urban slum area of Rawalpindi and Pakistan. Karachi. Then we have Dr. Wajiha with us. Dr. Wajiha, who has done her PhD from University of Malaysia University. She's an associate professor at the Department of Economics at NUST University. She looks at different economic dimension and its inclusion for the well-being of women, how it aligns with SDGs. We also have uh, Irfan Hussain Sahab, who is founder of Pakistan Economic Foundation, Economic Forum. This Pakistan Economic Forum is the largest social network, which is a community of 30,000 members, assisting these members in research and practices, knowing how we can have different aspects of economic development. The forum not only includes economic departments, but all the relevant departments who are working for economic inclusion. I'm Dr. Saima Khan, moderating this session. I am head of the Department of Global Studies at the Institute of Global and Historical at Tufts College. So first, I would like to invite Dr. Firdaus Ahmed Malek, who would tell about this book, how he got this idea, what he wrote in this book, and how he included all the chapters according to the themes. Welcome, Dr. Firdaus.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saima. So I am delighted, to see all the faces, although virtually. So am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please continue.
Okay, thank you very much for the confirmation. So good evening, esteemed members of Pakistan Economic Forum, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. Today, as we stand here before this panel discussion, which delves into the multifaceted landscape of Pakistan economy. The book is about the global economies. We are having, many chapters across the globe, but our focus discussion today is landscape of Pakistan economy. As we gather here, I am reminded of the words of great poet Allama Iqbal. खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. For those people who are unable to understand the Urdu, I will read translation for them. These lines describe that we should evaluate our selfhood to such heights that before every destiny God Himself will ask us or ask you, what is it that you desire? So these lines inspire us to take charge of our future, particularly our economic destiny. In today's rapidly changing world, we must be proactive, innovative, and also to determine the shape of our own path, which reflecting the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. I am reminded the quote of Winston Churchill. Once he said that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the continuous courage that counts. So these strong words they resonate deeply as we navigate through the trials our economy faces, particularly Pakistan economy, South Asian economies. But as we are discussing Pakistan economy today, so but they also remind us the resilience that defines our spirit as a nation. As we discuss the economy, economic strategies, and the vision for today, I, I urge everyone, every participant, to think beyond the immediate challenges that envision a prosperous future for our beloved country, that is Pakistan. By working together, combining our wisdom, and harnessing our resources, we can transform our economy into the one that only sustains our people, but also enhances our presence on the global stage. Let's embark on the journey with resolve and optimism. In the words of the great poet Faiz Ahmad Faiz, he once said that न गुले नगमा हूँ न पर्दाए साज मैं हूँ तो बस एक इंसान सोच. I am neither a flower of song nor a curtain of music. I am simply the thoughts of human beings. We are here to think, to create, and to realize the dreams of better Pakistan. So, am I allowed to share the presentation? I want to share the slides. So, I hope my slides are visible to you. Hello.
Yes,
Yes, sir, it's visible. It's visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Thank you very much. So, as you know, we have edited a book, a beautiful book. It took us almost 1 year. And I want to share the journey of this financial inclusion, how it came into my mind. While I'm the student of financial inclusion, during my MPhil and PhD, I was delving into the urban settings, poor people, how they are living, and what this financial inclusion is all about. But today discussion will revolve around Pakistan economy. We are having three key chapters from Pakistan economy and our esteemed speakers who will shed light on them. I will give you overview of this whole book, what all this book is about. This is the brief about the book. It covers what it covers. So as this book covers that, it makes the availability of literature in the area of development economics, which examines financial inclusion, management, and contemporary certain points. It also covers financial inclusion related topics like surveying economics around the globe, what is happening, what are the factors of financial inclusion and financial exclusion, how technology has made revolution, if we talk about digitalization, how it has made financial access free or affordable, It highlights, all the core and trending issues. If we try to understand sustainability, green finance, inclusive and non-inclusive challenges, we are having also, in detail the theories of financial inclusion, how theories are explaining us the situation and impact initiatives taken, between developed countries, emerging countries, or developing global world. So we are having, chapters from global south also. So this book is an arrangement. It is a literature available in a comprehensive manner for all students of development economics, we can say, researchers across the globe, because it is a firm book which has compiled all these things in one, form. So overall, the readers will benefit from this comparative analysis. It is an invaluable source, I can say, because it has taken almost 1.5 years to compile this book. This is all about the book. It is in a detailed framework of financial inclusion between all the countries, whether emerging, developing, and developed world. So I am going to here to display the contents of this book. We are having first chapter which talks about the exclusion of empowerment, second financial inclusion concepts and theories. Then we are talking about role of technology in financial inclusion, which Professor Wajahak and Professor Faisal, they have, a detailed analysis in that. They will discuss it in coming, presentation. Then we are talking about Morocco, their fintech, services. Then we are also talking about the empirical analysis, adaptation of financial services, and what is the role of technology. We have taken global perspectives of financial inclusion, how financial inclusion is, understood at the global level. We are also having theme on financial inclusion and regional development. In case of India, Pakistan, we are dealing again with Pakistan, then Nigeria, then Malaysia, and we are also talking in this book about the empirical awareness about financial inclusion and how policies are making impact. We are having one of the great chapters examining the determinants of savings in post-reform case study of India. My own chapter, which is talking about financial inclusion in emerging market, a synthesized theory and practicality, where I am challenging the present policies, why they are failing, what is the demand and supply mismatch. And lastly, we are having financial inclusion and tax ring. So these all topics we have covered in our book. So now let me give you a brief view about this financial inclusion, basic concepts, what it is all about, so that we can understand the upcoming presentation, which are totally focusing on Pakistan economy. So financial inclusion, what it is all about? It is to provide financial services to all the people who are in our society, irrespective of color, caste, and creed. There are different set of financial inclusion schemes. World Bank definition is different. Here we are in India, we are having Central Bank, RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Their definition is something different. And Asian Development Bank, their definition of explaining financial inclusion is different. There are development institutions like World Bank, IMF. So the unique definition is to provide financial services easily available to all the people, all the citizens of any particular country, irrespective of color, creed, and gender. In this presentation, we will try to understand theoretical, practical, and strategies which are associated with financial inclusion. And we will try to understand that how financial inclusion has transformed their poverty life, how it has decreased their poverty, how it is encouraging entrepreneurship, which is helping us to achieve the path of inclusive growth. So in definition, there are various parts that to provide access to provide usage, and to make the product is affordable. So these are, these three main dimensions of financial inclusion. Different policies across the world have been framed. In India also, we are having umbrella financial inclusion schemes after 2014 onwards. And they are providing access, usage, and affordability. But question remains where they are inclusive in nature, where they are affordable. Is the infrastructure in line with the demand? So on and so forth. Then again, importance of financial inclusion. So as the word financial inclusion, the literature shows that it facilitates the access to credit, it helps us to generate capital, it helps us to achieve growth, it helps us to achieve, create jobs. Again, by having financial inclusion, access of financial inclusion, it helps us to neutralize poverty, it helps us to, increase the standard of living of the people, it helps us to manage the risk and uncertainty of the people. Then the key important point, social equity, playing the field where we are getting equal opportunities to participate in the financial system and access to essential services. As I know, I am the student of these since last 1 decade, where I am reading about financial literacy, microfinance and all. The social equity is a question mark where these financial services are not equally available to all the masses of the country, all the citizens. Therefore, there is a question mark. But World Bank, they have shown that financial inclusion promotes economic growth. It has helped to reduce the poverty reduction. Then theoretical framework. To understand any problem or any research, we should have theoretical understanding. So in my paper, where we are talking about practicality of these uh, policies or programs, we have raised a question that supply and demand mismatch is there, which is highly highlighted by the academicians and policymakers or students of research in different case studies or different research publications. But nowadays, the trending issue to address the issues of financial inclusion and its challenges, the institutional aspect has been highlighted since last 5 years. That there are institutional problems, that how IMF or central banks are making the financial products, their accessibility. There are questions about their credibility, their access, their usage. But in our paper, what we have highlighted, forecasting variables are missing. If any institution or government, as a state, they are initiating any public policy, they are not keeping the forecasting variables. Just like South Asian economies, they are facing every year floods, earthquakes, and all. Let's take the example. Common issue is we are getting the floods. But for floods, there is nothing forecasting, kept in the policies or schemes which government is providing. So because of the flood, the livestock, it created disturbance in that particular area for 1 month or 2 months. The policy or the program, collapses. So this, I am not having that much time. I am just giving you a general overview what challenges the financial inclusion is having on it. So there is supply and demand issue, there is institutional issue, but we have highlighted there is a forecasting problem also. Then supply side theories that we have to understand. Banks are the they are the institutions. They are the institutions which believe into profit. So banks will work where they will get more profit. They hardly think about welfarement or empowerment of these people. So therefore, their products are designed in a way where they will get maximum profit, rather than we are having here slogan of Prime Minister, Modi, that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and he has, bought so many, financial inclusion schemes in 2014, where we have provided free of cost a bank account, Mudra scheme, where, you have without mortgage, you will get the loan for running small businesses and all. But when the banks are working, the managers are working, they are having certain targets to achieve. Therefore, they highly, avoid, they totally avoid the needed people who need finances or financial credit to survive. So these, supply side theories like branch expansion models nowadays, we are having digital technology, we are doing online transactions and all. So again, the question is, how success is this digitalization or financial literacy? What about the populations which are, unable to use these technologies or digital, you know, forms of, mobile phone apps or something like that. So then barriers to financial inclusion, that what are they? There are economic barriers, geographical barriers, and cultural barriers. In one of the papers I have highlighted, there are personal barriers, there are psychological barriers, there are social barriers, and there are institutional barriers. So therefore, there is ample literature, in a comprehensive manner which we have designed or prepared for the students of, development economics. After they read, they will get different stories from different corners of the world. Like we are having study of Morocco, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, so on and so forth. Then, what are the strategies that will help us to, achieve inclusive growth? Then, the evolution, the evolving phase of digital financial services they are going on. Then we are having, policy interventions, that diplomacy is that countries are making, huge infrastructure in banking to achieve digitalization nowadays. You know, infrastructure development is going on a, greater pace, where we are, talking about 5G, 5G services, five development of 5G networks. So, and creating programs which are directly related to, demand. What is demand at the grassroots level, like government initiatives to provide subsidies or financial literacy programs. It is happening across the world in different, names under the different names. Then there is the question of public and private partnership. Both public and private, they have to come together to have more inclusive financial inclusion too. Then we are discussing in this, different case studies, like the case study of Jandan Yojana. It has achieved now, a decade. Before one decade, it has been implemented, which has, helped people to create bank accounts and save in their accounts. And it was a zero-based bank account, which has achieved a milestone. And as per the data of government data, I think almost 90 crore people have opened their bank accounts because of this initiative. But there are questions for the discussion whether they are able to save, how many accounts are dormant accounts. But these are the two case studies like Kenya's M-Pesa. It is also, talking about the resilience of that country. In case Jandan Yojana is the resilient, scheme in case of India. Similarly, for Pakistan, there will be different, programs which we are going to cover. Then challenges that technological adoption. That what is the, structure of the country? Are they prepared for technological transformation, accepting the new technology, and how they will do it? So this is one of the challenges. And policy adaptation, how they are going to, have domestic policy and foreign policy with regarding the acceptance of financial technology. Then sustainability, it is one of the, greater issues. Without sustainability, nothing is worth to achieve. So sustainable. Then there again are questions we are going to, take in, question and answer session, where we will give more detailed, reply.
Thank you, Dr. Firdaus. Thank you for explaining your chapter, as well as the whole structure of the book. Now we have Professor Dr. Mohammed Ramzan. he would speak on his chapter, what he wrote and what were his findings. We welcome you, Dr. Ramzan, and the board is yours now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be the part of this important discussion on the economics of financial inclusion. And I'm very thankful to Dr. Firdaus Ahmed Malik and Dr. Tarika Singh. These are the editors of the book of the economics of financial inclusion that was published by Routledge. And I'm also grateful to Dr. Irfan Hussain from Pakistan Economic Forum. Today, I'm focusing on the critical link between the women empowerment and the financial inclusion in South Punjab, Pakistan. Because South Punjab faces unique, socio-economic challenges, including gender disparities in access to the financial resources. Empowering women is not just a matter of equality. It is a powerful tool for boosting the economic growth and achieving the financial inclusion. So by enhancing the financial inclusion, we can promote the different macroeconomic variables that can financial inclusion can affect on the different macroeconomic variables. So am I audible? Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You're audible.
So actually, by enhancing the women access to the financial services, we can unlock their potential to contribute to the both household welfare and the broader economy, creating the more resilient and inclusive financial ecosystem. So, as Dr. Firdaus Ahmed Malik has suggested, that the financial inclusion is multifaceted phenomena, and it has many impacts on different macroeconomic variables. So we must know what the financial inclusion is. So the financial inclusion is actually the process of ensuring the individuals and the businesses that have the access to the useful and affordable financial products and services that meet their needs, such as transactions, payments, savings, credit, and insurance that would be delivered responsibly and sustainably. So actually, financial inclusion bridges the gap for the underserved populations, including the low-income households, rural areas, and the marginalized groups, ensuring the equal opportunities for the economic participations. As we know that financial inclusion has three important dimensions. First one is the access and the usage and the quality and affordability of the financial products. So we have actually written a research paper in this book that is actually based on the title is from empowerment to inclusion and unveiling the path for the women in the South Punjab. So in this paper, we have actually discussed that how the women empowerment actually impact the financial inclusion, because all type of women empowerment, either this is economic empowerment or political empowerment or social empowerment. So we have three types of empowerment, and we have actually measured these three type of empowerment and impact of these women empowerment on the financial inclusion, along with some other variables. So I can share you the slides as well, if you allow me. That is. These are the slides. You can see that the title. So we were three authors, me and Irfan Hussain and Sana Sultan, and you can see here. So uh, so this is actually the introduction that I have told to you people. So this is actually the conceptual framework which we have here. So you can see here that three types of the women empowerment: economic empowerment, social empowerment, and political empowerment. And then we have the economic indicators, income level, employment, and then we have education and awareness. We have two type of variables: education level, schooling, and then the financial literacy. And similarly, we have some social and cultural factors in our model that are the social and the cultural norms, and then trust in the financial institutions. And then we have the technological factors that are the use of the cell phone, internet, and access to digital phone, and so on. So this is actually the conceptual framework. Data we have taken from the South Punjab, and the three divisions of the South Punjab: Multan, Bahawalpur, and Diji Khan. And we know that there are 11, districts in the three divisions, and these three divisions constitute the South Punjab. So actually, we have followed the KG and Morgan formula to determine the sample size, that is actually 384, and we have done the proportionate sampling. And this is how we have got the data. So actually, you can see here that that is based on the rural population in the division and divided by the total population in all divisions. So we have the actually proportionate sample size, that is from Multan we have got 135, and from Bahawalpur we have got 121, and then from DG Khan we have got 128. The total, we have 384 sample size. So this was the model specification. In this, the financial inclusion is the dependent variable, and then we have the women economic empowerment, women social environment empowerment index, and then political empowerment index, income, employment, education, and other variable which I have already discussed to you people. So these are the some results you can see here. This is actually, we can see that in DigiCon division, all type of women empowerment is less compared to the other divisions. And Multan is at the top of the, in terms of the moderate economic empowerment category. And Bawalpur is at the second, and DG Khan is at the third economic empowerment strategy. So far as the social empowerment category is concerned, Multan is again at the top of the, with respect to the moderate social empowerment, Bawalpur at the second, and DG Khan is at the third level of. So we can say that in these pie charts, in Bawalpur, no political empowerment is prominent, and DG Khan is at the second, and Multan at the third. In overall, we can say that in overall, we can say that women empowerment is very low in DG Khan and Bawalpur comparison to the Multan. So this is the econometric analysis, and you can see that the different variables, and all the variables are almost have some positive impact on the financial inclusion, that is women social empowerment, and political environment, and income level, employment, education, financial literacy, social cultural norms, and infrastructure variables. So this is all about the study. But before this wind up my presentation, I would say that our central bank has done different things to include the financial inclusion. Because in 2012 they have started the National Financial Literacy Program, and they have and aimed at that they would increase the financial literacy among the people. So at that time, we have only 11%, bank accounts of the people, but now we have 16%, and they have actually targeted that we would increase from this number from 16% to 47%. So with respect to the Pakistan's position with respect to the global gender gap, we are very at the lowest level, because we are at 142 out of 146. This shows that there is much more gender inequality in Pakistan. So if we want to have the more financial inclusion, we have to focus on the women empowerment, and all kind of women empowerment, so that we can target the financial inclusion, because financial inclusion would create different positive externalities on the macroeconomic variables. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramzan. It was very enlightening having you and knowing about your chapter. Now we have Dr. Aisha Khan, CEO of Akhtar Hamid Khan Foundation, and we would like to invite her so that she can speak on her chapter. Thank you, Dr. Aisha, for being with us. Please expound on your chapter.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much to Pakistan Economic Forum and Dr. Firdaus Malik for inviting me, both for authoring the chapter as well as to speak today. Thank you very much. So I'll just briefly talk about our chapter. We work in urban slums, low-income urban communities. We are currently working in two areas, Rawalpindi and Orangi in Karachi. Very different areas. The chapter focus, and while we work predominantly with women, micro and nano enterprises, the chapter focuses mainly on male-led micro and small enterprises in Pakistan, particularly during the phase of the COVID epidemic. So the chapter is a little different. So with the permission of the group, if I'm just going to kind of talk about the chapter as well as some insights from the community level regarding women, and what are some of the barriers that are stopping them, as Dr. Emar Sheikh just mentioned, what are some of the factors that are stopping them from truly gaining financial inclusion and hence economic empowerment. So if with the permission, I'm just going to go back and forth between the chapter as well as our experience, and some of our work has been published on that. I didn't make a slide, so it'll be more of a dialogue. What do we see? In Pakistan, one of the first things that we see, like in many other developing countries, that institutional, as well as at the policy level and as well as at the individual level, there are significant gaps where micro enterprises are concerned. At the policy level, we know that the differentiation between small, medium, and large enterprises is not really geared towards helping low-skilled, low-literacy, low-income communities access in terms of regulations, in terms of registrations. So access to people who are not really at your top tier is very difficult. So at the policy level, what the chapter highlights is that there are big gaps that fail to address small to medium enterprises that are led and driven by very low-skilled entrepreneurs. So that's point number one. And in COVID, we saw that many of them lost their capital or did not have customers, and there were very little safety nets that they were aware of on which they could fall back on. So that's point number one. On the institutional level, the factors that really play are that the trust of the community in taking loans is very low. The awareness of the community that such loans will help my business grow is also very low. And while we work very closely with the State Bank of Pakistan, the outreach of financial inclusion programs is limited to fairly educated and middle and upper middle class communities and entrepreneurs. So the lower end is where pretty much 85, 90% of our informal economy is generally not reached or is generally not able to access. So there's a significant awareness as well as a distrust level of institutional safety nets that we talk about in our chapter. On the individual level, one of the things that really came out in our chapter and in our research, both with women as well as in the chapter with men, that entrepreneurship is just something that people come into without any planning or without any training, without truly understanding what is business management, what is making a business plan, how do we go around negotiating, what are the resources that are available to me. And another thing that we found at the individual level, particularly in terms of women, is that because mobility is so tightly restricted and controlled, for women's businesses, there's a lot of dependence on male household members, which again limits how much their business can grow. For men, we found out that this is enough, and the whole planning for business growth is very limited. It's a very low ceiling for which they are trying to. So there is no business growth plan. And while SMEDA has done a lot of work, this business planning, this outreach covers a very small percentage of poor urban communities. Again, emphasizing the point that poor urban communities are being missed and neglected in the outreach campaigns. And one of the things that we are now advocating with State Bank is how do we work together with other NGOs, other microfinance institutions to expand this outreach in poor urban communities. With that, I'm just going to kind of summarize that there is a lot of gaps at the policy, institutional, and individual levels in terms of entrepreneurship training and business planning, and without which we cannot strengthen our informal economy to eventually become part of our formal economy. I'm going to stop here and open to questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha. We will take the questions, I think, in the end of the session. Let's have the whole debate right now and the talk, then we would come back to the questions. We would like to invite Dr. Wajiha to discuss her chapter so that we will come back to question answer session. Thank you. Dr. Wajiha, are you there? Yes.
Yes,
you, Doctor.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity for having my chapter published in the book. We wrote, my name is Dr. Vajia, and we wrote about digital financial inclusion in Pakistan, evidence from Global Findex database. So this is the database that is being published, and it's a secondary database. It's published by World Bank. I will not go into the detail of what financial inclusion is, because you already have um, learned about it a lot. But yet, I must say that in this age of artificial intelligence, the world's problems are yet very fundamental. And the contemporary world faces the problem of access to financial services and financial inclusion. And severity of this issue of financial services access and inclusion is also not uniform across region or gender. When we see its severity, around 1/4 of the population is financially excluded globally, as only 76% of the population have accounts with the banks or other financial institutions, including mobile services, service providers. Having said that, why is it important? Because being a financial system, they may have access to the financial services, which may be the transfer, deposits, loans, and other facilities. Um, this unbanked population that that we have investigated in our paper is not gender neutral. Globally, around 1.4 billion individuals are unbanked, out of which 115 million are in Pakistan. And Pakistan has half of the unbanked population, out of which women are 57.4%. Gender gap exists in the labor force participation, though it's coming from there, but yet I will show you later that women are lagging behind the men in every aspect of financial inclusion. So you can have a deeper look in the chapter, but usually we see the limited access in the rural areas and the remote areas, which is also contributing towards the severity of the problem. And there are different socioeconomic barriers affecting women disproportionately. So the question arises that what derives the financial inclusion for women in Pakistan? So in this chapter, we actually empirically investigated digital financial inclusion using this Global Findex database, and we measured DFI through access and usage dimensions, because the data for other dimension was not clearly available. And we then identified the key determinants of DFI among women. The methodology of this article, this chapter was that we took the data from World Bank Global Findex 2021 round, and which included 1,002 individuals who were aged from 15 and above, and they included both urban and rural areas. Primary sampling units were selected on the geography and population size. And on the second stage, sample was collected on either on the basis of probability proportion to the sample size or random sampling. Then, taking this database, we calculated DFI, that is digital financial inclusion, through Alkire-Foster methodology. And after making that index, we saw the effect of different variables on DFI through mixed effect linear model for empirical analysis. So this is important that we use methodology. So DFI is the variable which has been constructed through two indicators, usage and access. Usage has 2 dimensions, whereas access has 6 dimensions. No, 4 dimensions, and each carries equal weight. This shows the descriptive statistics of the data used. So we can see that 72% of the respondents have completed primary schooling, and the wealth quantile is equally distributed among them. almost equally distributed. 45% of the respondents were, and rest were out of the workforce. Rural people were 39%. And a very important aspect that we saw was 63% of the respondents had mobile ownership, but only 70% had internet access. So that also contributes towards their exclusion from the financial system digitally. We saw that females have less DFI, digital financial inclusion, than men, and same goes for different.
I think Dr. Wajiha got disconnected. I think she would be joining us back the moment her
Sorry.
internet is ready. It's okay. It's okay. It's perfectly fine, Dr. Wajiha.
Okay. These kind of situation in the country, and we have internet disruptions. Sorry for that. So I was talking about that women usually lack in DFI in every aspect. Even we see across different dimensions, that is mobile ownership, access to internet, having mobile money, use of internet pay. So in all these dimensions, you can see that gray bar is shorter than the other one, and this shows that women lag in every dimension of DFI. So when we saw the impact of different variables, we saw that significant variables were education levels, urban residency, and financial account ownership. Whereas we didn't find any significant effect of income on DFI. We saw that educated people and individuals having account at traditional financial inclusion financial institutions have significantly higher DFI than their counterparts. For females, age is not a predictor of DFI. Regional level variances are significant, which means that there are some factors specific to rural-urban divide that affects the DFI of individuals. However, this variation is insignificant for women model when we account for the moderation of gender at regional level. So multi-level model suggested that there are some region level factors that contribute towards DFI in addition to the factors that are common to both urban and rural areas, as evident by random regional variation. That brings us to the conclusion that in Pakistan, women are less empowered to take their own decision. The provision of digital platform will help them to take financial decision easily. In this study, we have used Findex survey and found that male have significantly higher inclusion than females. So women are lagging in every dimension of DFI, and income does not determine the DFI for the population. People who have accounts in financial institutions is the main determinant and have higher DFI than others, whereas policy needs to target more underserved through usage of Easy Pesa and other institutions that have less prudential regulations. Maybe women are mostly worried about payments, and digital platform can easily facilitate and empower them to include them financially. So recommendations include improving digital financial literacy among women, and expanding mobile and internet access, especially in rural areas. Gender sensitive policies for economic empowerment can be made, and also financial empowerment of women can lead towards DFI, that is digital financial inclusion, and it can lead to poverty reduction, economic growth, and sustainable development. So that concludes towards leveraging of digital platforms for inclusive economic participation. Thank you so much for candid listening, and apologies for the disruption in between. Yes.
Don't apologize, Dr. Wajiha. It's an issue occurring in Pakistan. We all know that. It's perfectly fine. Thank you so very much for your presentation. Uh,
Thank you.
okay, now we have a few questions with us. We are going to open our house for the question and answer session, and we would like all our presenters to be there because we have some questions here. First of all, we have Fahim Sahab, Fahim Muhammad Fahim Sahab, Fahim Jan Sahab. He has raised this question. If he could, he would like to. You may please unmute so that you can ask a question.
Hello, everyone. That was really good, informative, and very fruitful.
Can you please increase your volume, or you just come near your mouthpiece?
Okay, can you hear me, people?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you, Sir Irfan, for such a great session for arranging this. I have also done my work in MPhil. My research was state of financial inclusion of PWDs, person with disabilities in Pakistan, and I look into the state where they lie, because in Pakistan there is a financial inclusion index available, but totally ignored segment is PWD. As I have attended this session, you people did it really good in context of women and other segment of the society, but I didn't see any statement regarding the PWDs. Although State Bank has launched a policy, financial inclusion policy for PWDs in 2021, which was revised also. So if uh, you can people add these and you did it from which area? I have did it in the capital Islamabad and KP Peshawar and Sadda area. If anyone can want, and I want to expand my work, and should be improved and look into the matter where we can check all over the state of in all over country of PWDs in regarding financial inclusion, because the State Bank has launched a very explainable and very detailed policy for them, but there is a policy implementation gap which I have evaluated in two areas because I was just in access to these two areas. So if you people can.
Sir, can we please have a very short and crisp question so that we can directly address that?
Yes, I want just which variable should I include further to expand this study and expand my paper, because I want to expand this work in context of PWDs.
Okay, who would you like to address this? Dr. Firdaus, would you like to address this question? He wants to
Yes,
know what
yes.
variables. Yeah.
I would like to, but other participants, they are having freedom. They can also, share their viewpoints. I have closely worked with, people with disabilities, PWD. So, in the definition of financial inclusion, as you were, mentioning in between, that you have not talked about PWD people. So, in the definition, we are talking all the people who are excluded from the mainstreaming banking because of one reason or other reason. So all the people mentioned is those who are not the part of financial inclusion, whether they are disabled, whether they are, women, whether they are migrant, whosoever is there. So we are talking in financial exclusion about them. Regarding your work, as you were highlighting that Pakistan Central Bank, they have, they have made data source public regarding people with disabilities, and you want to extend your work. To extend any sort of work, first is what is your objective. You want to try to understand what is the financial inclusion performance of people with PWD. Then you are having freedom. You can go to the whole Pakistan, collect the sample, depends upon what sort of costing you are having, what type of budget you are having, for what purpose. If you are a student or PhD scholar, you have to design your objective as per that, so that you can have time limit. Uh, at that time, you can fulfill your objective within that time domain. But research is a it is a wide. It is like a sea. You can take minor objectives and shed great light, check impact of that very program which has been implemented for people with disabilities. So for that, you have to read the literature with regard to people with disabilities, about financial inclusion across the globe, South Asian countries, which region is having more disability. As I have done my research, I have done about slum dwellers and beggars in India. For that, I have chosen two cities on the basis of developmental or macroeconomic variables, like state GSDP. I have chosen the area on the basis of poverty. I have chosen the area on the basis of undernourishment or hunger index. So these are the macroeconomic variables on the basis of which you can choose your area of study. But again, the core question will be that what will be the objective of your study? Whether you are a research fellow, you want to work at at your individual level, then you have to be very sensitive what you are going to do, because you have to complete it. But if you are working with any association, then again the budget will guide you. So I suggest to you in a nutshell that have go through more literature about people with disabilities. People with disabilities is a term, but their challenges which stops them to be financially included, they altogether will be different. And there are the nature of people with disabilities is different types. Someone is hearing impairment. Someone is physical disabled, having problems in legs. Someone is having mental retardation, and old people. So there are lot to see. So hope I have answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Firdaus. Now we have other questions as well. This question is from Dr. Ramzan, and the question is that what are the three, and this is asked by Vasia Tahir, and the question is what are the key factors that impact women empowerment in three districts, and which factor has highest influence? So what would you say, Dr.
Okay, Vasi, actually, we have not worked on the determinants of the women empowerment. So we have actually explained the determinants of financial inclusion, and women empowerment is one of the key factors affecting the financial inclusion. So if you ask me that I can explain you in general that the key factors affecting the women's empowerment in these three divisions of the South Punjab include education, social norms, employment. So these are the three important factors. Education plays a fundamental role by equipping the women with knowledge, skills, and confidence, enabling them to participate in economic and social activities. Employment offers financial independence and decision making power, contributing to economic empowerment. We can say that according to our study, education emerged as the most influential factor in driving the women empowerment in South Punjab. Higher education attainment not only enhances the awareness and confidence, but also challenges the restrictive social norms, paying the way for the greater economic and political participation. While the employment is significant, its impact is often, mediated by the education and prevailing the social norms. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramzan. Now we have a question from Dr. Aisha. Dr. Aisha, there's a student, she's a student, Mehlab. She is asking, I would rather combine two of the questions because I think they are very relevant. One is from Tausif, another is from Mehlab. Mehlab is asking that this financial inclusion, is it women empowerment or minority empowerment when we're talking about? Because there are many women who are very much empowered. So what I think she has taken this into class. And then Tausif's question is that social and structural difference in rural and urban society within this context of empowerment of women. But it is also pertinent to Dr. Ramzan, that how would you take that, this urban and rural divide, when it is coming to empowerment of women?
I'll answer the first question first. Minority, we work in urban communities, so marginalized. The minority, the women aren't of a minority, but they are certainly marginalized, and they're marginalized by terms of access. So they're marginalized by levels of education, which is very low. Majority of our women that we come across are grade 5 and below, to even some women having zero literacy. As we know, Pakistan, nearly 50% women have almost zero literacy. For urban, what I would like to emphasize is there are a lot of women, and when I say lot, I'm again remember talking of two specific communities. ठीक है, इनकी populations बहुत ज़्यादा है. One is 300,000, one is almost reaching 1 million in Orangi. About 25 to 30% are doing something while sitting at home trying to gather income. The problem or the benefit of being in an urban area is that you're close to the markets. But the shortfall is that despite being very close to value chains and supply chains, these women do not have the knowledge or the awareness, and there is no formal government program or private sector program that helps them to connect what they're doing to the supply chains that are available. So with the result, urban communities may at least, there is a middleman who is taking the bulk of the profit. And particularly, I was very intrigued, okay, aajkal ke digital age mein, there is so much, and that's one of the pilots that we're trying to do. Can you create apps that connect to value chains unki instead of a middleman? Can a woman from the community kind of become the distributor? The biggest point is that there's a disconnect. Women are working at home on a very low level, very traditional skill sets. Packaging kar rahi hain, stitching kar rahi hain, accessories laga rahi hain, or they're going and working in low-skilled jobs and factories. But there is no connectivity to the value chains without a middle person, and this middle person's role can be taken up by technology, but that has not yet occurred in these two communities where we're working. I hope that answers some questions. Rural pay, I don't have much of an idea.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha. Dr. Ramzan, would you like to throw a little light on this question, particularly which is pertinent to women of South Punjab?
So I'm not clear about the question, what the question is.
The question is about rural and urban divide, that how within the context of South Punjab and empowerment of women, how
Okay.
there is social and structural difference between rural.
Okay. I would respond, yes. So this is actually the social and structural differences between the rural and urban societies in southern Punjab significantly influence the empowerment, levels. In rural areas, limited access to the quality education, healthcare, and employment opportunities hinders empowerment, particularly for women who often face restrictive, cultural norms and lack mobility. By contrast, urban areas generally offer better infrastructure, education, and economic, opportunities, enabling the greater participation in decision making and access to resources. However, uh, urban empowerment is not evenly distributed as marginalized group in cities still faces, barriers. These disparities creates the need for the, some kind of tailored, interventions to address the unique challenges of both rural and urban context in fostering the empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramzan. Now we have some more questions. I would like to quickly go through it, through all the questions, because we are running short of the time. There's a question: is it effective to ask about financial inclusion when the basic needs of people are not met? So this is for you, Dr. Firdaus. How would you answer that, or anyone else would like to answer it?
Actually, these questions are from the people. I think they are not understanding what financial inclusion is all about. Financial inclusion hardly talks about any social evil, we can say. Poverty is a social evil, where we need roti kabda makan, basic amenity. That is something different. We are talking on a particular issue that we will provide banking access to the people so that they can save, they can avail credit, they will become financially independent, and that independency, this process, having money to save in the bank, get credit if they need it, this process is all. This process is called financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is name of bunch of financial services where people have access, usage, and they are affordable. There is one more question I want to answer in this very question. Somebody from Kashmir in India, he is asking that I have not talked about the awareness about financial inclusion. So I will recommend my book, which has been published by Supringer, Financial Inclusion Schemes in India. So as maybe he is having limited knowledge, I have talked about access, usage, and affordability. If a person is using, then there comes post awareness. So usage is incomplete without having awareness. Nobody can use any financial service without having awareness. So usage covers that awareness. So once again, to finalize in 1 second, that financial inclusion is something different, poverty is something different. People having basic amenities are not, that is altogether different. That comes under poverty estimation. That will lead to understand inequality in the economy or a particular region or something. Financial inclusion is simply in nutshell, it is access to financial services. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Firdaus.
I would add in some, in the, definition of financial inclusion that Dr. Firdaus has, pointed out. And Dr. Firdaus has mainly focused on the access, but I think we should know that there are key important, dimensions, that the availability of the financial institutions and services that is actually related with the, access dimension of the financial inclusion. And it talks about the, physical infrastructure, such as the number of banks or ATMs or digital access, or mobile banking, or any other online platforms. And similarly, the second one aspect is also very important, or dimension is very important, that is the usage, because the actual use of the financial products and services are very important, because uh, actually financial institutions provide the financial services. So we must know the factors that are included in the usage of the financial inclusion, that are, actually the transactions, or saving activity, or access to the credit facilities, etc. And the third one dimension is also very important. That is the quality of the financial services rendered by the financial, institutions, or relevance, the financial service in the meeting their needs of the people, and it actually includes the factors that as transparency or affordability is very important factor, or the safety and the customer support. So while defining the financial inclusion, we must encapsulate in the three factors largely to define the financial inclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohammed Arsalan. I want to argue. I have never told financial inclusion is only access. I have told there are three parameters: access, usage, and affordability. There was somebody asking in a question, in chat box, that
Yeah.
is it necessary that having no awareness? I was replying to that it
Okay,
comes
okay,
into
okay, okay,
usage.
Dr. Firdos. Okay.
Yes, so you
Okay,
should
now we have a next question. We have a next question from Nur Fatima, a very pertinent question, that as the population is increasing, what are the ventures which can be introduced to empower women? Financial inclusion. So I would like all of you to address this question a little bit in a little detail, very briefly. Anyone
So
starting from?
So can you again explain quickly?
Can you repeat the question again? I've not listened you.
The question is that as the population is increasing, what ventures can be introduced to empower women through financial inclusion? Because there's so many women now, like there's so many people, even men are running out of the jobs. So how can women be included and how can they be empowered? What ventures can be introduced?
Okay. I would like to answer this question.
Yes,
So,
Dr. Vijay.
as far as my experience is, when we used to study the conventional banking, so in rural areas, setting up a branch is very expensive. Whereas these digital financial inclusion tools, such as setting up just one machine for DigiPesa or Easy Cash or other apps, has transformed a tuck shop into a bank. So that's how women also got access. They make a call to a person who they know, and they ask for money and they get it from their nearest shop. So this is how we also have made them included. And as already have been said, that financial inclusion will be improved through access, usage, and quality of services and affordability. So, by improving those services, we can easily include these women, and awareness can play a very important role. Awareness of usage of these financial services. I see around me that now youth is using different apps to transfer the money to even person standing in the cafe, selling a very small items, a small priced items. So these women can easily be included, and after using these services, they can also have access to borrowing as well.
Thank you, Dr. Wajiha. And Dr. Aisha, would you like to answer this?
Yeah. I would also like to say that directly digital inclusion or financial inclusion is just one aspect. But I think the biggest favor we can do as our population, men and women, is both increasing, is to sort of really look and see how can we improve women's mobility while maintaining our context. So starting from the educational level, how can we sort of bring into mainstream that women working outside of the home is something good, women engaged in decision making is something good. The whole concept of women, char diwari and ghar is a good concept, perhaps, but in today's economic times when two people have to earn, whether through enterprise or through jobs, we really have to discuss ke apna social narrative. How are we changing our social narrative to include women to be more active part in it? That's what I would like to say.
I would quickly like to jump if time is there. So there in economics, there is one theory called life cycle hypothesis theory, which talks about an individual into three stages. That when he is a child, he is totally dependent, and he becomes elder and he is able to earn money, and later he becomes adult, he becomes again dependent. So to make women, the increasing population, to be empowered and to be participate in financial inclusion, then that middle phase we have to develop. That will be developed to have proper education, create employment opportunities, so that once they are having income, then only they can go to bank, they can go to digitalization. So economic empowerment is very important for the increasing population to be part of, whether we can say digital financial inclusion or simply financial inclusion. Without money we cannot be financially included, because if you are not having money you cannot do any have you cannot use any financial services. But education is the compulsory aspect to get economic empowerment. So life cycle hypothesis theory explains all about this.
Thank you, Dr. Firdaus. We have only 7 minutes to go with the session, and there's a very, very basic question, but very important, pertinent to this very question, that how if we change the mindset of men so that we can include women financially? So it's a very basic question every time we ask this, but a very important, pertinent question. Then we'll take a question from Muhammad Salat. And after that, we would wrap up this session.
So if anybody wants to, because I want to give equally opportunity to all the, presenters here. If they are not, then I can jump quickly.
How can we change the mindset of men?
So it is, yes. This question is one of the toughest questions. It is not simple.
Actually, I would like to ask this question from the men, that how can you change the mindset of men so that women can be included?
Actually, we are working on one paper, patriarchal, mind, and how women are led behind in financial inclusion. The very parameters why women are led behind, because of illiteracy. If they are not educated, they are unable to use successfully financial inclusion services. If women are not in jobs, then there is zero, this. So one is society, that in what type of society we are living. So if women are marginalized, they do not have job, they are doing, household chores, everyday kitchen work and all. So without, giving them value, they are not, if they are not educated, then they will remain like this. So we have to, education is the key to bring them, and education is the only tool which will encourage women to fight for their to fight for their rights.
So the burden lies on shoulders of women, that they have to be educated. What about the mindset of women?
No, I have not argued like this. I am asking, we have to create a system where we will give opportunity to women so that they can come out. Once they are aware, education provides awareness. Education gives empowerment. And for that we have to come beyond the religion restrictions. So we have to, the religious people, they are sometimes, making the the exchange of the communication in such a way which is not relevant. So therefore, within modernization, we have to think beyond the limits. Just like Professor Asha was talking about that, we have to think about beyond the four walls. We have to provide equal opportunities. Education is one, and that education will only generate the jobs. They will develop the skill. Equal opportunities. We are talking women empowerment. The question which we have got in Pakistan Economic Forum, I want to address here. That was from Professor Nadeem. He was talking about, is financial inclusion possible without sustainability? The answer is big no. So women are the part of the society. Financial inclusion is not sustainable unless and until women are equally participating. So this is my answer to that question. So let us take more questions because we are having.
Okay, now we are left only with 3 minutes. Muhammad Arsalan wants to ask the question, and this would be the last question, and then we are wrapping up the session. There are many who are asking for the PowerPoint presentations. Many are asking about the discounted book versions or PDF versions. So we'll take these questions in the end. If there are possibilities of sharing PowerPoint presentations, and what are the possibilities of buying discounted books or PDF version or soft copies of the books. But before that, we would like to take a question from Muhammad Arsalan.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. This is Mohammed Aslan. I'm a PhD student and especially working in fintech and financial inclusion. So I have a question regarding, as we know, we have a rigid banking system in Pakistan that we have seen during the 2008 financial crisis and also in the COVID-19. So what are your thoughts that why government and financial institution made minimal progress in increasing the financial inclusion and also in terms of adoption of fintech system? Even we have seen some programs from State Bank of Pakistan, like we have National Financial Literacy Program and NFIS program, the Financial Inclusion Strategy program. They also failed to demonstrate some sort of significant impact on overcoming these issues. Instead, they focused on metropolitan areas which already have some sort of literacy as compared to untouched populations.
So
who would you like to address this question?
Especially if I can get the opportunity to listen from Dr. Firdaus and Aisha.
Yes, Dr. Firdaus and Dr. Aisha, please address this question.
actually, I am sorry. I heard that Pakistan Bank and they have initiated some programs. I missed in between. Can you repeat the question again quickly?
Yes, there are certain programs which were initiated from State Bank of Pakistan, like National Financial Literacy Program and the NFIS program, which is also the Financial Inclusion Strategy program. They also failed to demonstrate on issues like we have the limited financial inclusion and low level of fintech adoption system. They only focused on metropolitan areas which are already literate as compared to untouched populations.
Yes. Yeah, so your question is they have just focused on metropolitan regions, and what about the other regions? If we try to understand it, it is theoretically it is discrimination, or it is not. We cannot say it is the program is inclusive in nature. But sometimes government they are coming with a plan or with a scheme. They want to make a case study that let us say we are having metropolitan city Islamabad, let us suppose, and they can take sample size or make a small experiment so that they can design their products accordingly. So I do not know what is their mission behind this. So, but as per the financial inclusion, how experiments are getting done in.
Excuse me, I think you should take an answer from Dr. Muhammad Ramzan Sheikh or Dr. Aisha, because this is relevant to the Pakistan context, so it will be more convenient.
Yes, for anybody from Pakistan they can, but as per my understanding, I think the program is not more inclusive. It is targeting particular region. The objective may be like this. So I would also I would like also to hear from the Pakistan colleague. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So Irfan, your question is really relevant. I think it's again the same thing. A lot of decisions and planning are done sitting away from communities. And the most marginalized communities never get a voice. So a short answer is that I don't think it's intentional, but plans are made generally for a very limited group of entrepreneurs and financial inclusion for more upper and middle class people. So I think definitely there needs to be better planning. I think looking at provinces and then seeing, for example, southern Punjab or deeper parts of Sindh have more poverty or poor human development indicators. Over here, we should focus on more financial inclusion programs. I think those sort of things don't feed into the decision making. And that is something where young people and academic universities can really do a lot of advocacy, that pick marginalized communities and focus on them, work in partnerships with NGOs and focus on them. I don't know if that answers your question.
So can I add something towards this question?
Yes, please,
please.
Dr. Irfan.
So I think the government's efforts to promote financial inclusion in rural areas are actually have been unsuccessful due to the different challenges, and these challenges include limited access to banking infrastructure, especially in the remote areas where the physical branches and ATMs are scarce, and the low level of financial literacy and awareness about the benefits of the financial services hinder the participation of the people. And another factor is cultural barriers. Cultural barriers such as distrust in the formal financial institutions or traditional practices may also discourage the people from getting the financial inclusion. So these are, I think, more factors which are creating the problems, or which the government has not been successful to promote the financial inclusion in, especially in the rural areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramzan. We are 4 minutes up our time, but I think I've left one question. When I've asked all the questions, I would like to give chance to that question as well, and then we are wrapping our session. And please, no more questions. Thank you for asking your questions. We are very thankful to you. The question is, I think this question would be pertinent to Dr. Wajiha, because you talked about Easy Pesa and all other opportunities like this, where even a shop has become a bank. The question is from Khalik Ahmed Sahab that if the interest rate is so much unaffordable in the country, how financial inclusion is possible? I think Dr. Wajiha should answer this question.
Can you please repeat? Because there was little
The interest
disruption.
rate has increased so very much. Okay, the interest rate in Pakistan is not affordable. So how can women be included when they're starting such ventures, economic ventures?
Yeah, that is an economic problem faced by all of the society. But when we look into the dichotomy between male and female, we see female are lagging behind. Even they are not affording that much that male are doing. So yes, we can let me say we can use education, awareness, and all those empowerment programs to make women at par with male. The cost of borrowing, when it is high, the whole economy faces the problem, either it's male or female. So irrespective of the gender, it's a problem for everyone. But I think State Bank has done a very good job. I don't know, it's a good job, but they have tried to reduce the interest rate, try to reduce the inflation as well. So let's see whether this translates into sustainable economic growth. If that does, then women will also get their part from that growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wajiha, for your answer. I hope you all got your answers. Though an inquisitive mind will never get an answer, and we'll all always have um, some questions in our mind, always and always, and that would lead towards a new kind of research. I would like to wrap up this session. Thank you, Dr. Firdaus, for this book. I think it'll make a very good turnout, and it'll be a good addition to the libraries of universities, of the people, and would add to the knowledge. Thank you, Dr. Aisha. Thank you, Dr. Ramzan. Thank you, Dr. Wajiha. Thank you, Irfan Sahab. Thank you, Dr. Irfan, for organizing this session. And I thank all the participants. Your presence meant a lot. Who asked your questions has made the session very well. I would like to thank you all. You may lead the session. Thank you from Dr. Salma Khan.
So before we end, I would request all the participants, if they are in a position, they can on their camera, we can have a group photo. So in between, if there are any questions, you can reach our estimate panel. They are all on social media, that of LinkedIn. You can reach them individually. You can write them email. So you will get answer to your all queries. So now can request to all the participants, if they are in a position, they can on their camera, we can have a quick group photo.
A Google form is attached for each certificate. You can fill, we can respond, inshallah.
Can we have Dr. Aisha as well, if Dr. Aisha is around? Dr. Aisha, are you around?
I think she is not there, so I have captured few photographs. Those who wanna have a photograph, they can quickly, on their camera, if they are in a good, position. If they are walking here and there, so they are, they are requested not to open the camera. So I think we have, we have taken enough photographs, to highlight our session. So I will take opportunity to thank Pakistan Economic Forum for creating, such an opportunity to have a discussion about Pakistan economy and its inclusive growth pathway. And I would like to, thanks to Professor Mohammed Ramzan for active participation in this panel discussion and contributing in this wonderful piece of
Thank
book.
you very much.
Dr. Irfan, the core organizer of this event. Dr. Saima, who has given us her precious time, actively participated and has taken all the engaging questions to make this session more beautiful. Professor Waja and Professor Asha. It was really, great add-on to my career, as I was first time, interacting with the people across the border. I am connected via WhatsApp, but I cannot express my feelings that how good it was looking to me to, face and interact with wonderful economists across the border. So in future, I am looking for more contributions, and I would
Inshallah.
definitely, try to participate in the opportunities if they are.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much once again. This was all from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Firdaus. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed Ramzan Sheikh,